PR, I guess.
No.
Or Singaporean.
No,
Oh, not even PR.
no, no.
Okay, on EP, unemployment pass.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I find it interesting because Singapore seemed to be a place where people who stayed this long, like us, we didn't really expect that we'll be this long. You know, when we entered Singapore, I mean, I was working and you get your EP and next thing you know, time goes by, you're working and then you just look back and like, oh my God, you know, I spent more time here than any places apart from Philippines because I've lived in so many places as well before here.
But you ever applied for PR?
Yes, we did apply on our first 2 years here, and we got denied. This is our second year in Singapore, and then I think from that point it's one of those, you know what, let's just not reapply yet, let's just wait a bit, and we just have never really thought about doing it because I think after you got rejected, you have that feeling of like, okay, it might be a second rejection or something like that, but I think it's a privilege for us to be able to live here and to work here and to raise our family here more than anything else, you know. So yeah, so who knows, maybe we might have to reapply again one day.
And you feel like safe on EP. So I guess your husband probably also have an EP.
Yes.
So if one of you, an unfortunate scenario, lose the job, so you still have a backup plan because one is EP, one is DP.
Yes.
This kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah. I think I have any expat in Singapore who's on EP, right? When you talk about a family who live here for 14 years, on EP, I don't know how many of them still exist in Singapore at this day and age. Because when we move here, there's a really massive expat groups. I mean, I don't know if you noticed that, but I would say on my first 3 to 5 years in Singapore, if you walk around the city, it's especially CBD area, it's full of Caucasians, it's full of Asian. Now the foreigners has changed to a lot of Asian, like Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese, and stuff like that. But yeah, I think for me, I think if that's what's gonna happen, that's what's gonna happen, you know? But I think, like I said, we've never looked at it like, okay, let's worry about this, you know, what if, and so far they've been renewing us. I think we're very good boys and girls in Singapore, so I think they're just like, okay, let's just give them another EP, couple of years and stuff.
Yes, every 2 years or 3 years?
I think it's 3 years.
3 years, yeah. Yeah, for me also. I actually don't know anyone who didn't get like their EP extended.
Yes.
If they were like working basically, if they kind of, let's say, I don't know, break some rules and they want to extend your EP. But apart of that, I mean, I think it's easy. Just every 3 years you extend.
Yeah.
I know the guy. I choose the guy. He's a EP, I think, from his company. So he owns the company and he sells hats on Juchat around here. He's been in Singapore for like 30 years, something like that.
Oh wow!
Always on EP.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's interesting about Singapore.
It is.
How it works here.
And that's why I said, I personally, my opinion is it's such a privilege to live here because it is a privilege.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean that you're from another place and you say, hey, I'm rich in the Philippines, I want to live in Singapore.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. You just can't come here and do that. So it's a privilege. There's a criteria to make it here. There's a certain education level you have to acquire to be able to get an EP, qualification in life and financial status, so they know that you're not gonna be a liability here and stuff like that. So it's a privilege, you know.
Yeah.
I think by itself to live here, it's a privilege already. It's so easy to wake up in Singapore feeling grateful. But for me, when I wake up in the morning, nothing else started my day that's enough for me to swear or for me to be so angry or to me to be so stressed. For example, if I have to commute from my place to my gym or from my place to an appointment or something, I don't have any stress, you know. Nothing stresses me until a real life stress comes to me, you know.
I'm a big fan of Singapore. I love Singaporeans. I love the place. But Singaporeans, to me, look more stressed than the Filipinos.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that I think I have to give that to the Filipinos, in the Philippines especially.
Yeah.
We'll have massive flood, you know, in rainy season. People are swimming on the flood and they're smiling. People are helping each other and they're all, I think they're happier, you know. I guess because there's not a lot of big pressure, corporate pressure, you know. Cost of living, of course, here is really high, and I could compare that when we first moved here to now. I remember when I first moved here, one of our girls in the office, she said, oh, you want to have breakfast? I said, yeah. So she bought me like a mihon set which was like mihon with fried egg and luncheon meat and stuff, and it's like $2.20.
Yeah.
And this was my first time I moved here was in early 2000. I was like, oh my God. And then the quality is like, it's really so massive that I can't even eat it. And then now after living so long, you realize, okay, that's $10 nowadays if you really want to have that portion, or $8. In the Philippines, food can be a big problem too, you know. People can't really afford to eat on a daily basis, you know, especially the poor Filipinos. And that's very heartbreaking for me, because here, if you have $5, $7, you can pass through your hunger, and there it's like it's almost difficult to survive even if you have that. So yeah, I think that's the difference that I could see in between these two places. Of course, they're happier there even if they don't have enough, I guess, but there's so much pressure in Singapore also.
I travel a lot, so I've been to like poor areas in different places, and not all people living on $5 a day or something, not all of them are smiling, you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it's the mentality or something.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing.
Cultural
thing. And I think you can see that in Singapore as well. You know, if you go around on Sunday, you'll see all the helpers. They're singing, they're jamming, they're really enjoying they really make the most of their freedom for that day. Yeah. You know, and I think that's a very, very cultural thing.